Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Literally seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus. I'm your host, and today we're breaking down a story that feels less like your standard sports news and a whole lot more like a high-stakes psychological thriller. But before we get into the heavy stuff, please support the channel by subscribing, liking this explainer, and becoming a member. You definitely want to do that before we dive deep into what is, without a doubt, the most terrifying, high-stakes gamble in modern professional football. We are looking at an organization that is pushing all of its chips, every last one, into the absolute center of the table. The Indianapolis Colts are making a bet that is either going to resurrect their legacy completely or bury it deep underground for the next decade. $49,490,000. I really want you to just let that number sit in the room with you for a moment, because that is the massive, completely unavoidable, fully guaranteed cash that the Indianapolis Colts just handed over. And who did they hand it to? A quarterback who is currently recovering from one of the most devastating, career-altering injuries in all of sports. They didn't just sign a player here. They fundamentally altered the landscape of the entire National Football League with a single stroke of a pen. And here's the absolute terrifying reality of that specific figure. It represents a staggering percentage of their salary cap space, meaning if this fails, they can't just buy their way out of it. There is no reset button. There is no magical trade that fixes this. This isn't just a contract. It is a ticking time bomb. It is a sheer, blind leap of faith onto a surgically repaired tendon. All right, so here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with a franchise desperate for stability, then look at the massive $88 million gamble. From there, we'll cover managing the Achilles recovery, avoiding past Giants mistakes, the crucial second-year core, and finally, a make-or-break season. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, a franchise truly desperate for stability. We have to begin with the sheer, unadulterated desperation brewing in Indianapolis. Because honestly, you cannot understand the sheer magnitude of this contract without understanding the pure, agonizing pain of the last 6 years. This is a team that has been wandering aimlessly in the quarterback wilderness. The trauma really starts back in 2019, which is kind of the original sin of this modern era for them, when Andrew Luck shockingly retires in the absolute prime of his career. Since Philip Rivers gave them a very brief, fleeting spark in 2020, it's been a painful, relentless revolving door. I mean, think about it. It's been a veteran quarterback carousel that has yielded absolutely nothing but false hope and wasted seasons for the fans. Fast forward to 2025. Anthony Richardson struggles brutally on the field, with the pressure completely mounting. And the realization finally sets in inside the front office. They are in trouble. They have been endlessly searching for a savior. And worse, looking ahead to 2026, they have no first-round draft pick available to spend on a quarterback. None. Zero. They were backed into a corner, folks, with absolutely no other choice. But then, out of nowhere, there was this massive spark in the dark. Before disaster struck last year, Daniel Jones had this Colts offense humming like a beautifully engineered, well-oiled machine. It was incredible to watch. They surged to a dominant 8-2 start. Jones was playing completely out of his mind, giving this franchise its first taste of true, undeniable stability in half a decade. And look at this number. They were scoring on an astonishing 57.6% of their drives. Let me put that into perspective for you. When a team is scoring on almost 60% of the times they touch the football, you literally cannot stop them. For the first time in what felt like forever, the city of Indianapolis was electric. It finally felt like they had found their guy. Which brings us to Section 2, the massive $88 million gamble. Everything collapsed in Week 14. One false step and the dream turned into an absolute nightmare, leading us directly to the most scrutinized, heavily debated contract of the entire NFL offseason. The sheer scale of this is staggering. $88 million. A 2-year deal that, when you dig into the fine print of the incentives, can actually climb all the way to $100 million. By design, it marks the largest 2-year contract in the entire history of the National Football League. Let that sink in. The largest ever. They didn't just pay for past performance here. They paid for a ghost. A fleeting memory of an 8-2 start, hoping, praying really, that they can somehow resurrect that exact same magic through sheer willpower and a mountain of cash. And as you might expect, the external doubt surrounding this is absolutely deafening. Critics around the league are tearing this deal apart piece by piece. Just look at what ESPN's Bill Barnwell had to say. He didn't hold back at all, warning that the Giants got fooled by one good year and made a, quote, franchise-altering mistake. He's basically saying this deal might not give Indianapolis any sort of stability or upside whatsoever. Why are people so mad about this? Because dedicating this much guaranteed money to a severely injured veteran permanently hamstrings the entire organization's future roster decisions. It places their salary cap into a suffocating vice grip. If Jones doesn't pan out, this isn't just a bad contract, it's a lead anchor for the entire front office. Now we move to Section 3, Managing the Achilles Recovery. To fully grasp the massive scale of this terrifying risk, we have to look entirely past the dollar signs for a minute. We have to deeply analyze the brutal, agonizing medical reality of Daniel Jones' current physical condition. This isn't a sprained ankle we're talking about. We call it the Week 14 calamity. Against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Jones didn't just tear his Achilles tendon. The unbelievable raw truth is that he was already battling a broken leg, a fractured fibula. He was out there, gritting his teeth, playing directly on a broken bone, overcompensating until the Achilles tendon finally snapped under the extreme, unnatural pressure. His season abruptly ended right there on the grass at just 13 games. The human body has a strict physiological limit, and Daniel Jones pushed his way past the breaking point. And now, the race is on. The Colts are desperately trying to beat the clock on an incredibly tight, grueling 9-month recovery window. Step 1 was the complex winter surgery. Step 2 brought the isolated spring rehab, slowly trying to rebuild basic muscle strength. Step 3 brings us right now to May OTAs, those critical early spring practices. And all of this is pointing to the ultimate test in Step 4, the September 13th opener against the Baltimore Ravens. They are aiming for him to miraculously start under center in Week 1. They are defying conventional medical logic and completely inviting intense league-wide scrutiny. It is an incredibly aggressive timeline. But behind closed doors, the fear inside that facility is palpable. To mitigate this immense risk, the coaching staff has instituted what is essentially a bubble wrap protocol. They are completely holding him back right now. 0 7-on-7 reps, 0 11-on-11 full team drills in May. You can look, but you absolutely cannot touch. They are intentionally sacrificing crucial foundational practice reps, completely stunting the entire offseason's offseason growth, purely to protect their fragile $49 million investment. Because they know without a shadow of a doubt that one single wrong step in May could completely destroy their plans for September. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Avoiding Past Giants' Mistakes. History tells a very dark cautionary tale here. And if the Colts want to survive this gamble, they have to look east to New York to see the catastrophic consequences of paying an injury-prone quarterback. The stark juxtaposition here creates incredible tension. On one side, you have the 2022 peak. The Giants watched Jones lead them to a playoff win, the front office was hypnotized, and they handed him a staggering $160 million contract. But look at the aftermath. Over the next 2 seasons, the bottom fell out entirely. He missed an alarming number of games, playing only 16 out of a possible 34. And when he actually was on the field, an abysmal 3-13 record. The Giants paid for a franchise savior, and they bought a ghost ship instead. The numbers show exactly why the external doubt surrounding Indianapolis is so deafening. In 2022, the production was excellent. 15 passing touchdowns and 7 rushing touchdowns. He was a true dual-threat weapon. But after securing that massive bag in New York, his production plummeted into an absolute eyesore. In 2023 and 2024 combined, he threw just 10 passing touchdowns, compared to a horrific 13 interceptions. That is a negative touchdown-to-interception ratio, folks. His mechanics completely broke down. The Colts are betting $88 million that the 2025 version of Daniel Jones wasn't just another expensive mirage. Next up is Section 5, the crucial second-year core. Because of this severe financial handcuffs created by this massive deal, the Colts are completely paralyzed in free agency. They cannot afford to go out and buy a veteran safety net. The collateral damage here is that Indianapolis is now forced to throw their young, unproven 2025 draft class straight into the absolute fire. This table outlines their ultimate high-pressure backup plan. They are relying incredibly heavily on second-year players to plug massive roster holes. We are looking at tight end Tyler Warren taking over as the primary pass catcher, cornerback Justin Wally stepping in as the starting slot defender, and quarterback Riley Leonard acting as the essential break-glass-in-case-of-emergency QB2 insurance. They are asking these kids to keep this fragile team completely afloat.
Let's really break down the sheer magnitude of what is being asked of these players. They are banking their entire passing game on Tyler Warren replicating his monstrous rookie numbers, 76 receptions for 817 yards, because he is literally replacing longtime heartbeat Michael Pittman Jr. Look at Justin Wally. He is returning from a devastating ACL tear and is being asked to replace the massive leadership void left by Kenny Moore Jr. in the slot. And then there is Riley Leonard. In the season finale, he threw for 415 yards, flashing wild potential, but the Colts are having to keep him incredibly ready on the sidelines, knowing full well that Daniel Jones has a brutal history of ending up on a stretcher. If Jones goes down, the whole season falls on Leonard's shoulders.
Finally, we reach Section 6, a make-or-break season. All of these complex, incredibly dangerous elements converge on this upcoming September. This is a completely do-or-die campaign for the entire Indianapolis organization. The reality is terrifyingly simple, because we all saw what happened last year. When Daniel Jones's Achilles snapped, the Colts immediately collapsed. They suffered a brutal, agonizing 7-game losing streak to close out the 2025 season after he went down, helplessly watching the playoffs slip through their fingers. They know exactly what the abyss looks like, and they know that if Jones isn't fully healthy, they are going right back down into the dark. So we have to end this explainer on a question that leaves this story far from over. Is this $88 million investment the ultimate move that finally restores greatness and stabilizes the Colts franchise? Or is this a catastrophic miscalculation that is going to hamstring their future for years to come? The stakes have literally never been higher. I want to hear from you. Drop your take in the comments below. Let me know if you think this gamble pays off or blows up in their faces. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe to NFL Nexus, like this explainer, and join as a member to support the channel. It means a ton. Until next time, we'll be watching the turf closely because this season is going to be absolutely wild.